Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Katie Asco from Dublin, Ireland, and these are your latest headlines from around the world. As Ukraine commemorated its Independence Day on August 24th, a Russian strike on a railway station killed at least 22 people and left dozens injured. The attack took place at Chaplyne in the centre of the country. In the attack, 5 people were burned alive in a car, including an 11-year-old boy, said President Volodymyr Zelensky in his evening address. He had earlier warned about the risk of Russian provocations ahead of the 31st Independence Day. The other casualties were the result of a blaze that swallowed 4 passenger rail cars. President Zelensky said they would fight without any concessions until the end. He was making a reference to the Donbas basin, which has been partly controlled by Russia supporting separatists since 2014. Pope Francis has prayed for peace for Ukrainians suffering from the horrors of war. During his general audience on Wednesday, he renewed his invitation to everyone to pray for peace from the Lord for the beloved Ukrainians who have been suffering for 6 months. Recalling the precarious situation in the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, the pontiff said steps must be taken to avert the risk of a catastrophe. The Holy Father also remembered the prisoners of war and said that they remain close to his heart and appealed to authorities to work for their release. Meanwhile, an ecumenical prayer service for Ukraine with the participation of President Volodymyr Zelensky and his wife took place at the Hagia Sophia Cathedral in Kiev on the nation's Independence Day on August 24th. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, will undertake a pastoral visit to the city of L'Aquila in the Italian region of Abruzzo on August 28th. The pontiff will take part in the annual celebration of forgiveness in the city. Every year, believers attend the solemn rite of forgiveness, which is also known as perdonanza in Italian, and gain the plenary indulgence granted by Pope Celestine V 7 centuries ago. Since the institution of perdonanza, Pope Francis will be the first pontiff to open its holy door after 728 years. The Holy Father will also undertake a private visit to the ruined cathedral and address the families of the victims of the earthquake, which ravaged the city in 2009. In the US state of Idaho, a federal judge issued a verdict on Wednesday favouring the Justice Department's lawsuit that challenges the state's total ban on abortion. District Judge Lynn Windmill ruled that the state cannot prosecute anyone who performs an abortion. This will allow hospitals to provide the service when there is deemed to be a medical emergency. It is claimed that abortions in these cases fall under a federal healthcare law mandating Medicare-funded hospitals to provide stabilizing treatment to patients whose health is in serious jeopardy. The temporary ban on enforcing the anti-abortion law will continue until the lawsuit challenging it is resolved. Earlier this month, the Department of Justice sued Idaho, saying that the ban on abortion, which comes into effect this Thursday, goes against the Federal Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act. However, a federal judge in the U.S. state of Texas has blocked the enforcement of the Biden administration's guidelines urging medical practitioners to provide abortions under emergency care. In a ruling on August 23rd, U.S. District Judge James Wesley Hendricks blocked the enforcement of the guidance, emphasizing that the guidance went far from the federal law established in 1986 to ensure medical care for the underprivileged. The judge ruled it was unauthorized. He also blocked the administration from applying its regulation on members of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the Christian Medical and Dental Associations. State Attorney General Ken Paxton sued the United States Department of Health and Human Services on July 14th, pointing out that the guidance would conflict with the state's abortion laws. Texas is among the dozen U.S. states to outlaw abortion in almost all cases. Bishop Robert Barron of the U.S. Diocese of Winona-Rochester has strongly criticized President Joe Biden for what he terms are repulsive actions and statements with regard to abortion. The prelate flayed Biden for claiming that he personally opposes abortion but promotes it in the public sphere. The bishop made this strong comment in a video that was posted on YouTube. He said that many times the president has affirmed his personal belief as a Catholic that human life begins at conception and abortion is morally wrong. But he has always added that he is not willing to use the law to impose his personal conviction on anyone. The prelate also said he is very tired of the way the president and his allies used the term impose. Bishop Barron explained that opposition to abortion is not a doctrinal affair. However, it is a conclusion drawn from moral reasoning and the findings of objective science. In Australia's Townsville Diocese, Bishop Tim Harris has urged the federal government not to overturn laws to prohibit doctors from using telehealth to debate euthanasia. The prelate said that any changes to the law could jeopardise euthanasia safeguards and increase the risk for vulnerable people. In a letter addressed to Attorney General Mark Dreyfus, the bishop said people in remote areas who are considering euthanasia deserve access to top-notch medical services instead of online or telephone substitutes. In the letter, Bishop Harris also blamed the government for not properly funding healthcare. In the 6 Australian states, laws have been passed to allow voluntary euthanasia for terminally ill patients. However, people in remote areas will not have the same access to assisted suicide unless the Commonwealth amends legislation that bars inciting or counselling to contemplate suicide over the phone or internet. Less than a week after the abduction of the Bishop of Matagalpa, the Most Reverend Rolando Alvarez, and placing him under house arrest, the Daniel Ortega regime of Nicaragua has silenced yet another Catholic radio station. This is the 6th Catholic radio station to be shut down this month in the Central American nation. Radio Stereo Fe of the Diocese of Esteli has been closed down after 28 years of evangelization. The Ortega regime claimed that the radio station was functioning with a license in the name of a deceased priest, Father Francisco Valdivia. It also claimed that the new director doesn't have any permission to operate the station. Radio Stereo Fe said the closure is unjustifiable. The closure of the radio station took place just one day after the Diocese of Esteli released a statement asking the government to allow priests to work in peace and to release Bishop Alvarez. Iraqi President Barham Saleh called for Christian participation in the political, social and cultural life of the nation. The president mentioned the second-class treatment that Christians face during a brief meeting with the Chaldean Patriarch Cardinal Louis Raphael Sacco and the other bishops of the Synod on August 23rd. Receiving the prelates in Baghdad's Peace Palace, President Saleh praised his beatitude on the Chaldean Synod decisions. The president also held the recommendations of the Synod that are focused on fostering peaceful coexistence between Christians and Muslims. He pointed out the need to establish a principle of citizenship, paving the way for a better living for believers in the Middle Eastern nation. The president's comments have gained significance after the patriarch deplored the mass exodus of Christians in the face of their ill treatment. Hundreds of British pro-life activists are expected to gather at the nation's capital of London on September 3rd for the March for Life UK. Pro-life supporters will march from Emmanuel Centre to Parliament Square, holding placards that say 10 million too many. Organisers said that for half a century, women in the UK have been told the lie that unplanned pregnancies can be fixed through abortion. This has resulted in the death of 10 million preborn babies and negatively altered the lives of many women. Before the rally, there will be an indoor pro-life festival in which organisations from around the country will showcase their work. There will also be sessions for children of all age groups, talks, testimonies, games, prayer and music. The March for Life UK is aimed at educating and inspiring people to respect the sanctity of life at all stages. Those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow and visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.